Chris Brown is facing multiple lawsuits, some of which allege that he was physical with people who used to work with him. Now, according to a lawsuit filed last Thursday by Michael Guirguis, Brown's former manager, the singer inexplicably turned his drug-fueled rage on the loyal employee, shutting Mike G alone into a room with him and brutally attacking him, punching him 4 times in the face and neck. Now, I want to stop for a second. These are allegations against Chris Brown. We'll see what happens in court because obviously Mike G has to prove that this actually happened. But what doesn't make Chris Brown look good is not only his past with Rihanna, but also the fact that he's facing other accusations by other former employees. So Chris Brown apparently decided to take a uniquely Chris Brown approach, allegedly boasting about the assault and telling employees that he would beat them like he did Mike G. So
not a great defense in court. But Chris Brown is in a lot of ways the epitome of the celebrity culture. I can do whatever I want. There's not going to be a damn thing you can do about it. So I beat the hell out of my girlfriend. I mean, you saw her face. And what happened? Nothing happened. I got away with it. JR predicted he'd get away with it, and he was absolutely right. And everybody went back to being my fans, buying my music. I'm still enormously richer. He probably got richer. And so he does all this crazy stuff, and he's on drug-fueled rages, etc. And there's never any consequences.
Right.
So he'll probably look at you and be like, what do you mean? Like, why would I not beat the crap out of my employees? I'm Chris Brown. I'm rich in America. I'm above the law.
That's right. Look, when someone is treated as if they're above the law because of their fame or their wealth, well, then they're going to continue acting as though they're above the law.
It's almost a rational decision.
That's
I mean, it's immoral and terrible, but if you say, okay, you can do whatever you want and there'll never be any consequences, believe me, we'd have a pretty messed up world. And that's the world for a lot of celebrities. That's what they do because they get away with it, and rich people.
So he wasn't only abusive to his former manager, apparently he was working with a publicist that he is also facing some issues with, okay? And so this publicist was Nicole Perna. She no longer works with him. Apparently he had like a new clothing line come out, and a lot of the major magazines had no interest in it. And so Perna had written to him a text message saying, Anna Wintour doesn't want to fuck with you. These editors don't want to fuck with you. The majority of my time is spent on damage control. I'm constantly cleaning shit up and having your back. Well, his response to that was, Nicole, you texting me as if I will give a fuck if you don't work for me or not, before ordering Mike G to send this bitch her termination paperwork. Okay, so basically he just responds with, oh, well, it's your fault that the major magazines don't want to do coverage of my shitty clothing line. And it's your fault that I have a terrible reputation and people don't want to give me the publicity I want. And so I'm going to tell my manager to send you the termination paperwork. And she talks about how, you know, abusive he was with her while she worked with him. So not only is he making enemies of people within the music industry, he's also making enemies within his own staff, people that worked with him, people who have been loyal with him. And so it might seem as though he's going to finally get some of the consequences that he deserves.
So, look, of course, it's not all rich people. It's not all celebrities. There's some wonderful celebrities. But these guys are infuriating. And so it unfortunately poisons the well for everybody else. Because when you see a guy treat other people like this and his disdain for others, he thinks he's so much better than everybody. Why? Because he's richer than them. He's quote unquote more successful. And celebrities sometimes, look, a lot of celebrities are really great liberals, do wonderful work for people, et cetera, right? But sometimes these celebrities, not only are they have the advantages of wealth, but they have everyone kissing their ass 24/7. Oh, Chris, yo, nobody knows anything. You're the best. You know everything,
Yeah,
Chris.
you're in a bubble.
Yeah. And so they're all empowered to be like little Joffrey Baratheons running around with the rest of us. So we're sick of it.
Yeah.
And so who isn't rooting for Chris Brown to, you know, get his comeuppance? I don't know what that is, but I mean, if this, you know, Mike G guy is going after him for severely assaulting him, you know, I hope he gets paid a ton of money.
Yeah, it seems like he has a lot of evidence. And by the way, there was a European tour manager by the name of Nancy Gosh who worked for Chris Brown. And she is completely in agreement with Mike G. In fact, Chris Brown was so difficult toward her that during his irrational and high drug rages, he threatened to do to her what he did to Mike G. So she'd have to prove evidence or show evidence of that. But if there is evidence of that, it makes Mike G's case look pretty good.
Why? Like, I know why people want to hang out with celebrities. Like, oh my God, maybe I'll get famous from him, or maybe I'll get his money, maybe I'll get his shine, right? I can't imagine anyone I'd like to less hang out with than fucking Chris Brown.
I know.
What a piece of shit.
Even Suge Knight's suing him.
When Suge Knight thinks you're immoral, you know you've got issues.